All right, good Wednesday morning, peoples. Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. Let me jump in here on YIELDMAX. So YIELDMAX is declared, and let me run through and show you what the payments are for Group B. Nvdy is the leader. I don't think you can call Nvdy that much of a goat anymore. I think it's being surpassed uh, with Palantir, as if anybody's been following me and listening to some of my forecast, I said that Palantir should be the undisputed software giant in the world over the next 5 years. Could well become the largest market cap company. I mean, that may be pushing it because there's some people with 8x, 10x leads, but that's the kind of company that it's going to be in when it's all said and done. And I certainly like it, but I don't like it in YIELDMAX. I just really don't like, look here, I've summed this, and I much prefer 2x leverage on outstanding stocks like Palantir, MSTR, Tesla. You could call Nvidia in that group, but I think it's a fading hardware star. And I think software is the place to go. Maybe with Tesla, it's both hardware and software, but I don't think with Nvidia as much. Clearly, they have the lead in the GPU market, and for AI, that processor and that functionality on the hardware is still very important. Um, but I think in hardware, the margins get caught up and the competitors close the gaps in time. So NVIDIA is not going anywhere, but if you're expecting 3x, 5x, 10x in 5, 10 years, not going to happen at all. But you will see that in some other outstanding stocks. So income funds are interesting. I mean, my favorite for a while was Misty until I really saw how these things were being managed and run. And I said, oh, I'm much better off with the 2x leverage. And what really taught me that was Tesla. I mean, Tesla, if you bought Tesla, depends again, because I've listened to some other YouTubers on, and I know as well on myself on like Ulti, if a stock falls and goes way down and bases and looks like it's changing, then you can do okay. But if you think, oh, I timed Tesla wrong, I bought it when Tesla was 300, and because it went down to 100, I got killed. Well, guess what? You also didn't do that well when Tesla went from 100 back to 300 if you were in the income fund, but you couldn't keep up. So it's one thing when they don't keep up on the down, right? But when they don't keep up on the up, it hurts you. So that's why I bring up 2x. I get it. If you're an income guy, own some PLTY if you want, but don't brag to your friends about, hey, and look at how well it's performing. So let me go through the numbers. So I'm going to go next to the number, right? So I know how I get my cursor right on there. So Nvidia paid $1.1851. So that's a yield of 55.53. Facebook, 37.5 cents for a yield of 22.67. All right. So 31.93 for Jpmo. A consistent company, if nothing more, right? 20.4 yield. Mrny in danger of reverse split. Just horrible, right? Look at this. I'll get into this part that I've been doing recently, but let me get you what you want to hear. Gdxy, again, another perfect example. When I first saw this, I, oh, it's going to be great. because I made a lot of money on precious metal stocks in the gold run in the 2000 decades after we went through the 99 dot-com bubble burst, right, into 2000. And for that whole decade, gold and precious metal miners outperformed the S&P and the NASDAQ. And you have that. It happens in things. Nothing is a lock for 20, 30, 40 years. So you guys that take 1 or 2 year returns and say, oh man, 10 years I'm going to be retired at 40 now and Misty's going to pay. It just doesn't work that way, right? And we've all seen it. Look, at Misty's gone from, $20 to $45, back into the 19s, up into the 40s, and it'll be a rinse repeat cycle. But if you play some of these 2x opportunities instead of the income funds, they're not meant to hold. They're not buy and hold. With that leverage, you want to ride it. And, as long as it's moving up, put a stop in there, but you can get fantastic. So as we go through these, let me continue. So dip 63 cents, 55.68 on the yield. 72.92. I like Alibaba, right? I like some of the Chinese stocks. I own Granite Shares KBA. Hasn't done a lot lately, but I think they're very cheap from historic standards. 47.43. Look at PLTY. While it paid a great $3.34, it came out in this new era of Ymax, so it's a 50 something dollar stock, right? So now it's a $70 stock. As I said to everybody, it's not the issue. PLTR, the underlying, is going to do very well for a long period of time. That doesn't mean it doesn't run up to $80 or $90 and pull back to 60. Guys, you got to expect that kind of stuff, right? But where is it consistently based on performance and earnings? It should just be stratospheric. I think it's the best software company out there. Okay. So, but look what you had here. I made a note of this. The October 8 inception price, okay? 51.43. So what I'm tracking over here, guys, this is newer. I did it last week in the group A. I said, okay, here's payments for September, October, November, and December, where I call them actual. Well, then I went back and I said, how about July and August? So when I calculated the amount of money, I added those, right? The July and August, whereas I had these on my sheet. Well, some of these companies don't even go back and didn't even pay. Look at like this one. So there was no July and August, okay, for dips and BABO, right? So they're just, so you can see here, all the way down to this group through Gdxy, they had 6 payments. All of a sudden, these are 4 payments. PLTY is 2 payments. Look at that. And 2 payments, PLTY has done better than 6 payments in Facebook and almost as good as 6 payments in Nvdy, the supposed GOAT, right? So that's good from an income standpoint. But all I'm trying to say is, and if all you have was a little bit of money and you want to get a good dividend, then yeah, PLTT is okay. But honestly, if just buy a little 2x when you think it's cheap, let it run a little bit, sell it, go put your money in PLTY for a while and go back and forth, and you'll be way ahead of the game, I guarantee you. So look at this chart. So I just summarized. All right. So I'm saying in this 6-month scenario where there's only October 8th, right? So you don't even have 2 months of owning the stock, and you have 36.73% gain in the underlying, right? So if you went out here and you bought it on 7, I say 7.2 because that's the date I'm using for all those that have been there for the 6 months or longer. But here I made a note. I said, oh, okay, well, this one was 7/24 launch. This was an August 8th launch. This was an October 8th launch. So 51.43, and the stock is now 70. So when you do the number, it's 36.73. That's an annualized gain of 72%. Okay. But look at this. I want to show you. How could you do wrong on PTIR? Now, eventually you will, right? This thing, like I said, it may go up to 140 here, turn around and pull back to 75. So if you buy it at 135 and you wake up a few weeks later and it's 75, you have to be careful. These are not buy and hold, okay? In this case, when it launched, it was still early in the cycle, right? So you got it somewhere around $20. And here it is at 120 almost. So you've got literally almost a 6x in less than 3 months, right at the 3 month, the September to December, right? So you got a 6x, 6-time gain with 2x leverage. And in these 2 months, okay, Palantir existed, so that's why PTIR could exist, but PLTY didn't, right, until October 8th. So a 3-month, 2x is up 6 times, people. 6 times. Okay, 5.8. I lied. All right. So that's why I like it. That's why I don't even play Misty anymore. I just play Misty for me. That what's his name? The mayor of Carmel, right? Clint Eastwood. Play Misty for me. That's what I think of. But there's MSTU from Rex Shares, which has been phenomenal. MSTX from Defiance. This initially was a 1.75, and then they moved up the leverage to 2x. Okay. And then obviously TSLR, and there's a bunch of companies that have Tesla. Just Google 2x, 3x leverage on Tesla, and you can find those. Love Tesla too. I learned I'll never own Tesla again. I bought some only later after I went way down, and even then I said, oh, these guys, these high flying stocks are just not the place to be. Um, they can be for a short period of time, but it's very difficult for the options guys. And they just don't do active management enough. But you know, how can you go wrong with PLTY, or I'm sorry, PLTR lately? But I was saying that 6 months ago. I was saying it 3 months. There's some YouTubers out there that aren't income oriented, and they've been telling the story for a year or two. I really just talk to the people I used to work with that are still in the industry, and then do my own reading and research and digging, right? Because nobody keeps. I was telling some friends I used to work with, do you own any PLT? No, I was thinking about that. I bought a little snowflake, but oh man. And so they've just turned their gain in the government into the commercial side. Okay, guys, so this is what you want to look at. So, see, some of these things you're being killed on. Now, I call it 6 months, it's a little over 5 months. And look at even Nvdy, which has been a goat when it was paying $2. I mean, the very first, I think it was the first stock to do a complete ROI and like its 13th month, right? So what it was, remember all these Ymax used to come out at $20. Now the rule is they're launching these stocks and they come out at $50. Why? Because they know they're giving you a lot of return on capital and not real earnings growth, right? Money that they're making. So you need to be much higher because you're going to get NAV erosion. And look at this in 6 months, 5 or 6 months worth in Nvdy. It was 29.24 on 7.2. Here we are at 12.3, it's 25.61. So when you annualize that, basically double that, right? So you got a 24% loss, 25% loss on your NAV. Now you have a 56, 57, almost 58% yield, okay? So that's giving you a 16 or a 32, 33% yield. That's a great yield if it could last forever. If you told me, and you knew, which you wouldn't, that this is going to be 20 years, it's going to do that, then boy, you're going to beat Warren Buffett, right? But it's not going to happen. Like I said, 3, 4 years from now, Nvdy might not even be making much money, Nvidia, right? At some point, this momentum will fade from what they're doing. They're a great hardware company. They're the leader in what they do right now. Um, but that will change in the future. It always changes much quicker on the hardware side of things than on the software side. Um, and software margins are just outstanding. And that's why um, Palantir will be such a giant company going forward. I mean, they'll be Microsoft size in 5 to 8 years. Look how long it took Microsoft to get there, right? But a heck of a lot better earnings, I think, also. So Facebook, so look at these guys. You want these that are winning. Do you want this kind of a stock? Of course you don't, right? I'll make this red. Sorry about that. Why? Well, it's easy to see on Mrny. All you have to do is look and go, oh, well, that thing came out at $20 and it's at 5. So it's had a 63.9, call it a 64. That's 128% NAV loss, right? It annualized, right? That's ugly. And even when you take the yield, it doesn't give you a positive total return. These do, all three of these, right? Your little JP Morgan bank. Um, Dips is turned negative. Why? Because chips is up and dips is down, right? So it's the inverse of Nvdy here. BABO, I mentioned I like them. I mean, it's not killing it. They've had some NAV erosion. It's not that bad, but this isn't that good either, right? Look at PLTY, Ymax and Ymag. That's where to go, guys. Much well this arguably is the mag 7, right? This is the S&P, almost like the S&P 500, but it's just across the Yieldmax, which are all a little more risky other than your JP Morgans and some of those. You got some gold in there, but um, it's not these funds aren't all managed that well. So that's what I got for you, people. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I hope to do some more. I really should go in and do some of my 2x and show you charts and times and what I look for and how I try to decide when I go in. Um, and I've talked about that a little bit before. I owe you guys some metals stuff for those of you who follow me on metals. Um, I go out and buy the 2X, right? The JNugs and the dust when I'm bearish and all that. I'm in a watch and see right now. I'm very bullish on silver. I own some AGQ, which is like a 2X on physical silver. I own a number of miners as well. There's a great little triple leverage miner index to Gdxy. It's the smaller cap. When those run, that's a very attractive. I'm still watching. I mean, it's been moving up, but I'm not sure. I'm waiting for some more signals to say we're going to really run. But in 2025, I'm expecting silver to just do wondrous things. But as you know, with the Trump administration, all of the things that are going on, there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of new people. This whole Doge and Elon Musk and the other guy Vivek that's going to be involved in that. I mean, these things could be huge for what could happen, but also with this kind of change, you can get gridlock. I mean, with the way things have been for so many years with no term limits and all that on these senators and Congress people, I mean, we should have a one-term limit, and you should go back to what your real job is. Career politicians are the dearth of the political system in the U.S. and really are one of the reasons we have what we have. And as much as I'd love to see the swamp drain, I will wait to see if that can actually happen. I mean, there's a heck of a lot of alligators in all parties still in that swamp. And the more you attempt to do it, I mean, there's a reason why they were trying to kill Trump off. Um, they fear that very much, and they being all the people on both sides of the aisle that line their pockets with the money. There's so much thievery and I don't call it capitalism, I call it cronyism. So we shall see anyway. That's it. Sorry about the rant, guys. There's a lot of ways to make money in the markets. You just have to be careful. Take your time. If you're an income person and you need help, I'm still doing these. I'm just telling you in a lot of ways, it's not how I'm playing it, but I'm not against, and I'll tell you clearly the better ones to own. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Not financial advice, it's for education only. That's it, people. Bye for now. Have a great day ahead.